Hey guys, welcome back to another week of the cybersecurity unnamed cybersecurity talk, and we've got a new person with us this week. Look at that, Matt's here.
I'm actually Matt's AI. He's been missing in action for so long. He just decided to stand up an AI, and
this is Matt 2.0. This is Matt 2.0. Look at that tan.
Yeah,
look at that tan.
I know.
Damn, dude.
I may have been traveling AI
outside of PA for the last 2 weeks.
Definitely outside of PA.
There you go. So last week was a quiet week, guys.
Yeah, nothing happened.
Nope. Nothing pulled me off the beach on Friday, big news wise for computers at all.
You didn't want to go to the airport?
Well, considering all the flights were grounded, it would have been bad if I wasn't driving home.
That's a fair point.
Imagine if you couldn't have gotten gas.
That would have been worse. There was one gas station down by me that had the Blame Bill Gates poster up, which wasn't entirely accurate, but also entertaining. Since everybody seems to be confused who did what, they just know a bunch of stuff about them.
Well, that is a problem.
To be fair, every single news story started with large Microsoft outage, and then they would kind of go into it and say caused by CrowdStrike.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
People think CrowdStrike is Microsoft in this sense.
Well, it was the Microsoft version of CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike being a security software package, but that still doesn't. It definitely added confusion to everybody out there.
Well, you got to have those sensationalized headlines to grab attention and get everyone riled up. But
nobody would have known what a CrowdStrike outage was.
And there was a Microsoft outage, but that wasn't the one causing most of the issues that everyone was seeing. So it was just a very confusing day and probably a very busy weekend for a lot of IT folks.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, I couldn't play Call of Duty with a friend because I couldn't do party chat the night.
National tragedy.
So I was very upset about
National tragedy.
I was upset.
My son was very upset about Minecraft.
See? I'm not going to say I have
critical infrastructure, guys.
But well, the problem with it, if we want to dive into CrowdStrike real quick, I'm not going to get into technical details, but what they did, what the specific thing they released was allegedly it was supposed to evaluate named pipe execution on Windows systems. So it was only a Windows patch. And the reason for that was there was some newly observed and malicious like name piped being used by a C2 framework, so like a command and controls framework, so that would use it to communicate back. The problem was they had logic error in there and it crashed all the computers. So that brings up a different question. So like name pipes don't exist in Linux, not this example, don't exist in Linux and Mac. So that's why I was on Windows. Brings up a bigger question. Why didn't they quality test it?
Saying you should test your patches before you deploy them to 1% of all Windows machines on the face of the planet?
I mean,
critical infrastructure? Like
they deployed it at 4:09 a.m. UTC, or if you're in Eastern time zone, like normal people. Okay, ignoring the rest of the world, US, I guess it was basically midnight. It was like 12:09 a.m. Eastern. So, earlier obviously in the West Coast, but middle of the day for some people in the world.
Hold on for a second, guys. I'm getting some feedback from somebody.
Move my microphone just in case.
Maybe.
So yeah, it was definitely a late night call. I know, a bunch of call centers went down. Some machines just broke.
A
lot of hospitals couldn't scan, anything. When I say scan, I'm talking if someone in the ER needed an MRI, they couldn't do it for 24 hours or so. Everything was just done.
So I just wanted to bring up something for our listeners. We talk about patches. We talk about the fact that the vendor should manage the patch, is responsible to make sure that the patches are being tested. But then we also, I hold back my patches to make sure that they're tested beforehand. We don't initially, at least a couple of weeks. So why did, for the rest of us, I know the answer, but I want to get from you guys, the brain trust here. Why did this patch being released have a sudden outage effect? And what makes this patch different than other people going, well, we're just going to hold that back for testing. Because we had it worldwide. It was the largest outage ever.
So it's because people get complacent.
Mm-hmm.
So CrowdStrike admitted they've been doing patches this way for years. So for years, they got away with doing patches this way. Global rollouts, clearly not adequate testing, but they never had a problem.
Mm.
They never had a problem, right? Until they did. And unfortunately, Microsoft puts out their blog, it only affected 1% of Windows machines, only 8.5 million. And like we joked about before this, it was the 1% that actually mattered.
Yeah. Especially if you're especially if you're waiting for a flight, it will never come.
Yeah. I mean, Charles Schwab was down.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, but some of the critical infrastructure, like you couldn't order Starbucks from the app, that really got people upset.
Your Call of Duty.
To be well, the Call of Duty was Microsoft's Azure outage the night before and overnight. That had nothing to do with CrowdStrike.
I didn't know you were going over this much suffering. Call of Duty and the critical infrastructure.
Yeah. Trying to play Call of Duty with young guys is a challenge, right? Like being old, like I am. So I don't have quite the reflexes of those people. So it is frustrating. Not quite as frustrating as your computer just rebooting into a blue screen that says, "Hey," and just a boot loop that can never boot again until you fix it. But they just did it for years, and they got away with it for years, and then they didn't. But it brings up a bigger point: is how many things do we have? Security products have always updated automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so is there a way? And I don't know enough about CrowdStrike to speak to this. Maybe somebody can answer this. Is there a way to delay CrowdStrike updates? There might not be. And
yeah,
that's where you kind of get into an issue, because it's like, if you could delay CrowdStrike updates by a couple hours, this might not have saved you anyway, because they rolled out in the middle of the night for East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
So if they didn't catch it until, I don't know what time they fixed it. They didn't really say what time they actually fixed it. But even if it was 3 or 4 hours, I mean, still 3 or 4 hours that the world would have been affected. So I don't know. I think CrowdStrike might have a little different quality checks going into their next few updates. Or
quality check is one thing. The fact that they're doing all these updates. The update was, like you said, the update was trying to address a vulnerability that they're seeing in the wild. They just broke it.
Yeah.
So now what? If we go back to CDK and CDK had $1 billion in one day. I wonder what the real downtime and overtime issue is going to be around this one.
I want to read something from the CEO of CrowdStrike.
Who went to high school in our town.
That's cool. He posted this on X. Today was not a security or cyber incident. Our customers remain fully protected. First of all, I put this on LinkedIn. A security incident affects the confidentiality, integrity, or availability of systems. If 8.5 million machines are rebooting, you caused a security incident. To his point, though, those computers are fully protected, because if you can't boot into Windows, you can't download malware or communicate back to a C2. So,
service based on this model. I have a new security service based on this model. It's called Cement. No, don't take a hammer to it. I'm going to make sure your machines are intact. We're just going to get a big cement mixer. We're going to put them all into a big dumpster, and we're just going to pour cement on them. And that way we don't have to worry about the data leaving the computer.
It's secure.
It's secure. But the A for availability, we talk about in cybersecurity, CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And going back to Chris's point, availability was a big fail.
Well,
it still is in a lot of cases.
Also, when a computer reboots like that and things are in process, it could have caused integrity problems.
Yeah.
It could have caused a level of corruption. CrowdStrike's blog actually changed their language to say this issue is not a result of or related to a cyber attack. That's a completely different message.
Yeah.
They caused a security incident.
Sure they did.
They should just own up to it. I know the stock tanked. People are worried about lawsuits, right? They're worried about what kind of fallout this is going to be. Right now, they posted they posted on Sunday, technically, that they were working on a new technique to accelerate system remediation. And part of that might have been Microsoft. Microsoft published a USB image that you could use to get back into the PCs quicker. Because the way you fixed it is you had to just go delete a file. But because the computer can't boot, you have to boot from something that you can delete the file from, which, when you're talking about 8.5 million machines, that's quite a few machines to do. I know specifically one person had 28,000 devices affected. And it was an IT provider.
Because they had a bad weekend, and if those devices are encrypted with BitLocker and things like that, it just accelerates the process even more, because when you're in that environment, what is it, a 28-digit key now that you have to manually enter?
Microsoft's USB boot utility, you could put the key in, it would automatically decrypt the drive. But yeah, you still had to have the key, and you still have to type it in. You couldn't just
assuming you have the keys organized. It's a real test and documentation.
Yep. So.
And there's no master key, and a company doesn't have a master BitLocker key. Each drive is independent.
Yep.
Right.
No, and I think CrowdStrike CEO might get a little bit of a PR lesson out of this, because if you watched his interviews, he didn't apologize, and from a crisis standpoint, not a good look, honestly.
Well, on a good note, yes, it caused a cyber issue, but it wasn't that it leaked data yet.
Well, you're also going back into the legality of a CEO in the middle of a crisis. Apologizing will always be looked at as admitting guilt, and that's unfortunate.
He didn't have to apologize to admit guilt once they figured out what caused it.
He wasn't admit. Yeah, he already saying I'm sorry for screwing up. It was clearly them.
Yeah. By the way, this segment of the is brought to you by Monster Sugar Free. Not really, but if you want to sponsor this, we would appreciate it.
You just want more energy drinks.
Get Chris
Fair.
on a
sponsor.
Monster.
Yeah, we need a sponsor.
And Chris will wear a glider suit going through the eye of a mountain just to compete with Red Bull. He will be the beginning of your Monster drink action sports.
I'm gonna start an energy drink smackdown if I start talking Red Bull versus other things and stuff like that. So I think we kind of didn't cover Microsoft's outage as serious as it was. It took down Azure for a lot of people on the same night, on Thursday night, and we had a couple customers that were really affected by that, but not 8.5 million clearly. But they've had a couple of outages recently, Microsoft has, where it's been like, okay, they're making changes, they're pushing changes, and they're causing outages. It just kind of elevates the idea that the more consolidation we have in the services that we consume and that we use, the worse it is when there is an issue.
Absolutely.
So,
which we saw with CDK. It's like, all these can be in the same boat. CDK taking out 15,000 car dealerships. We're talking about the CrowdStrike, and to your point, the Microsoft outage.
Well, what can we do? So it gets you thinking, right? What can we do as businesses from all different sizes? If you're a large business, you can be multi-cloud. You can have a lot more maybe replicated services and things like that you can get your business back up and running a lot quicker. But for small businesses who can't afford that, what are some of the things that we could kind of do to kind of minimize the impact of something like this? That brings up that question. Because money sells everything to a point. I mean, if you have enough money.
You'd think.
Pen and paper works.
Okay, so yeah, for an instant response, maybe you go back to pen and paper, right? But what happens if it's your main business is like CDK, you use QuickBooks Online, and QuickBooks Online suddenly becomes unavailable?
You can't finance anything.
Something, right? what it doesn't really matter what service it is as we go consolidated. Like, it's going to have an impact on your business. So, like, how prepared are you? I joked on LinkedIn that between CrowdStrike and Microsoft, senior management was like updating their business continuity plans, and it was a cat feverishly typing, because if you're a business and you're down for how much do you make an hour as a business? Multiply that by the number of hours you're down, and then you start getting into, okay, is there overtime to pay? Did you lose a customer out of it? Other things like that. What does it really cost you?
It's a really great point, Chris, because a lot of people equate the cost of cyber and IT support as a big expense. They don't look at the big picture of, if we're down, what is it really going to cost us? Like, the Microsoft thing, what was that? 8 billion people, 8 million computers that were down?
8.5 million computers from CrowdStrike went down.
Oh,
We lost. Oh no.
Bob installed the CrowdStrike update. No,
Well,
Bob installed the CrowdStrike update. You got it late.
Oh my god.
yeah, he's kind of bad,
Man.
but he's not showing on stage.
Who's next? Is CrowdStrike Karma coming back to us?
Oh wait, I see him coming back. He fought off CloudStrike.
So adding one more computer into that mix, and no, I went to go look it up, and I disconnected from the session. So
You thought you installed the CrowdStrike update? But no, it's a good question that everybody has to answer. At the end of the day, like, what do we do? For me, I couldn't play Call of Duty, and I was bummed, but at least I had something else to do. That's the least of my concerns. If I woke up and half my customer base was down from CrowdStrike, it'd be a different story.
Yeah, I got lucky. We are not a big CrowdStrike user either, so we didn't have a lot of issues. But our clients had issues with getting other things done. I personally got delayed and had to shuffle things around because I went and picked up I leased a new car for pickup on Friday morning, and there goes Matt. Matt fell off.
Matt's now CrowdStriking it. All right, let's go.
So I got delayed there, and I'm talking to the guy. I was actually had some downtime at the dealership, and I was getting some real-time feedback on what they experienced and what their peers experienced on CDK. Meanwhile, I'm talking to the guy about his delivery schedule for the day. He only had 3 people on the schedule that he could deliver today because they couldn't get into the state systems to get credit, to get license plates for the people that had bought cars for that day. So
State of Michigan's registration used CDK, and it's all manual right now. And
I'm talking about the CrowdStrike piece. This was Friday. Last Friday when I picked up the car, it was his list of deliveries for the day were 3, and I got lucky. He goes, the fact that you got everything done last night so we could do the delivery today is why you're here.
There we go.
So Matt uninstalled the CrowdStrike update. We're back.
Yeah.
By the way,
I had my verb handy. It was fine.
There you go. New verb. Anytime any one of us crashes, we got CrowdStriked.
Crash. And so I was running around. So, how I like to do my my napkin math here. And so we said 8.5 million computers affected. And let's just say each person was being paid $15 an hour to operate those computers, and just going straight as an aggregate. Over the course of a day, it's $3 billion. So how many days did this affect us?
Well, some businesses it's still affecting them.
Yeah.
So this outage, although it was quicker in duration, exceeds the losses from the estimated losses from CDK by a lot.
Easily.
Yeah, because CDK people, like the dealers, could still technically do deals. They were just going back to paper.
Because the people who get the CloudStrike installed on their computers are definitely usually not a $15 an hour employee. Yeah. It tends to be a more sophisticated company that requires this type of compliance.
Maybe.
Bob's
I don't know that I would totally agree with that one, because there's a lot of stuff going on there. Like, it's a lot of enterprises that are using CrowdStrike. There's people I know people that had experienced a cyber issue in the past, and they moved to CrowdStrike because of that cyber issue. So we're running a little long. I'm sure we all got something to go fix and talk.
Well, I think I did find some information real quick. They're saying it'll easily top $1 billion in economic impact, and that's from Anderson Economic Group. So think about this: CDK lasted 2 weeks; it was about $1 billion. CrowdStrike happened for a few hours, and it's going to cause more than $1 billion in economic damage.
Easily.
Yeah. So think about that. That's kind of crazy. So.
Which is why, yeah, never mind.
Well, it's even crazier because like I think the revenue was only like $4 billion. So 1/4 of the revenue would be caused in economic harm from one bad update.
It's going to be interesting watching this play out from a financial perspective of who wants who to pay.
There might not be much.
How about the E&O insurance for CrowdStrike next year?
$4
billion.
I don't know. I think they'll be
I
fine.
wonder why these tools go up in price.
Well, a lot of times too, when you have an issue like that, it makes you better. Yeah, it sucks right now for everybody, but this should make them better. They should have better quality testing. They should be better going forward. And I think that's the thing that you want to see. You want to see them be better. So,
Cool.
No,
All right.
I didn't get CrowdStrike yet. Neither did Carl. So
I can fix it.
nope.
We get Bob striked.
Removed
That's-
from stage.
That's my new verb. I'm gonna kill somebody in Call of Duty. I'm like, you just got CrowdStriked. All right.
You don't want to get Mitchie striked. That's what I want to say.
So for everyone that listening who's still here, who's listened to us this rant for this far, be sure to comment below. Is there something you would like us to talk about? Any questions you have? Anything you want us to research or questions around CrowdStrike or Microsoft? Reach out to us and stay safe.
Don't be CrowdStriked.